Hi, I'm Derek Mooney, and this is Read Right Now. This week I've come to Kilmainham Jail in Dublin. Built in 1795, it's now a museum and it has many stories to tell. People such as Robert Emmet, Charles Stewart Parnell, Pádraig Pearse and Eamon de Valera all spent time locked behind the walls here. And you know, when people think about Kilmainham Jail, they think about politics and crime. But today we're looking at it from a different point of view, learning. And learning is something that has made a huge difference to the life of this week's learner, Margaret.
Since I've gone back to the classes to learn how to read and write properly, I can work more with the lads at home. Last year, when Rebecca first started school, I was going to my sister to help Rebecca. Now I can do it myself.
Later in the programme, Ian will be telling us all about multiple intelligences with the help of a few good men and women in the Irish Defence Forces. We'll also have our usual selection of learning points and practical tips on reading television listings, understanding nouns and spelling contractions, that's shortened forms of words. But that's enough from Kilmainham for the moment. Let's head to Tralee and hear about Margaret's story.
Sit down.
Like many people, Margaret Molloy found that school wasn't for her, and she had a tough time learning when she was there.
We were called the NAF gang in school because we all had these jackets saying NAF across them. So even before we went to secondary school, the principal had known about us. We weren't bullies, but we wanted to be, head of the class, start all the trouble in the class. Being involved in the gang was a lot to do with the reading and writing, because if they didn't do their homework, I didn't do my homework. If they weren't in school, I DOS school. I mean, there was one time we told the principal that we were going to be in bridesmaids when we weren't going to be in bridesmaids. And we went to the hairdresser for the laugh and crack. We went to the hairdresser and told them we wanted trials done in our hair because we were going to be bridesmaids. No, truth, like one of us was going to be a bridesmaid for our sister, but that was it. None of the rest of us were going to. We weren't even invited to the wedding. I left school when I was 13 in June. I just couldn't handle school. I mean, I went home and I said to my mother, I'm not going back to school. When August came, time to buy uniforms, I said to her, I hope you didn't buy me a uniform because I'm not going back. I told her, I said, I don't care, I'll DOS. If I have to DOS for the whole year, I'll DOS for the whole year. I'm not going back to school, so she just left me leave. It was too hard for me, I wasn't able for secondary school. Now, orange. My reading and writing when I left school would have been the same as being in primary school, because I didn't get much help in secondary school, so my writing would have been like maybe a 6 or 7 year old, and my reading would have been like, for a 6 or 7 year old, it's just after starting school, maybe her second or third year in school. Bye. Say bye to Michelle. My friends would go to quizzes in pubs and I'd be at home. And I would have loved to enter them, but I couldn't answer the questions because I couldn't read what the questions were about. Things like texts on phones, a text will come in and my friend would be laughing away to herself and she'd say, read that. And so I'd start laughing, just pretending I read it, and I wouldn't have read it at all. Things like magazines, like I wouldn't be able to read the RT guide and the TV listings or anything like these ones here. I just knew it was time to go and get help. The future would have held nothing for me. I wouldn't have wanted to do anything if I didn't know how to learn how to read. I would have just been happy staying at home with my 2 children. But when Rebecca started going to school, then I panicked. And I knew I had to do something about it.
Margaret talks about how she found it difficult to read television listings in newspapers and magazines. Television listings are divided between channels in columns. The top of the column tells you the name of the channel, and the programmes are listed with those on the top starting earlier in the day than those on the bottom. The time of each programme is written to the left of its name in bold numbers. Here we see that The Simpsons are on Network 2 at 6 o'clock and Becker is on the same channel at 9 o'clock. When you look up TV listings, you're probably looking for one of two things, either what time a programme is on or what's on at a particular time. To do either of these, you scan quickly to find the information you need. Let's say it's 7:30 and Margaret wants to see what's on TV. So she looks for the time, around 7:30, and then quickly checks what's on each channel until she finds a programme that she'd like to watch. Here we can see that at 7:30 on RTE1, Read Right Now will be on, while on Network 2, Dawson's Creek is on. Not much of a choice there, she thinks, so it's Read Right Now for her tonight. Now, say Margaret was going out and she wanted to record her favourite programme. To do this, she'd have to scan for the name of the programme until she finds it. Here, we're looking to see what time Fair City is on. We know it's only shown on RTE1, so we scan through the name of each programme for RTE1. We also know it's on in the evening, so we don't need to check the programmes before 6 p.m. So we can find out quickly that it's on at 8 o'clock. Every newspaper and magazine has its own way of writing TV listings, but with practice you'll be able to find what you want by scanning through text for keywords.
So TV listings can look very confusing, but once you learn to read them and practice your scanning skills a bit, they will become a lot easier. You'll find more on this on page 76 of the workbook.
This week I'm at the Defence Forces Training Centre in the Curragh. In this programme I'll be showing you how people can be smart in different ways and how there is often more than one way to solve a problem. These soldiers have to get this equipment over to the other side of the pool. Let's pretend it's a flooded river in Africa. How would you do it? Did you figure it out? The trick is to wrap everything up in the poncho so it floats and keeps everything out of the water. People who get this tend to use their mind's eye to visualize problems. People who don't get it tend to think more in words. Later in the programme we'll be talking about how one of the world's greatest geniuses used his mind's eye to solve problems.
Now, thousands of ordinary criminals with little or no education pass through Kilmainham, but this corridor held 4 quite famous prisoners. Pádraig Pearse, his younger brother Willie, Tomás MacDonagh and Con Colbert. All 4 were heavily involved in the Easter Rising of 1916. But apart from that, what did they have in common? Well, each one of them was a teacher, and each one of them believed strongly that education was a powerful force in society. In Margaret's case though, when she was younger, she didn't enjoy the study side of things. But today she finds learning very enjoyable in the centre she studies in now. Lawsanne McCarthy is Margaret's tutor at the Tralee Community Training Workshop.
At the Times, and we're going to work it now into TV listings. So actually, the workshop's aims really are for anybody who has, let's say, below junior education. So anybody that left school early. So we have a lot of different ages and types of people coming in, from the 15-year-olds right the way through till sort of, the mid 30s really. So show me where it is. But most people will come in wanting to have help with their literacy, reading, writing. And then we cater for computers, crafts, construction, woodwork, and the canteen area.
That's the same.
I started at the Tralee Community Training Workshop about 2.5 years ago, and I started off in the catering course in the kitchen.
What about any of the others? Do you watch?
Well, I knew how to read small bits, and the head person in the kitchen, she'd help us. Like, she'd be learning us through, going through it with us, so we kind of never had to read. We'd read small bits, and if we needed help, she'd help us. About a year and a half ago, I started up literacy when Loz had asked us, was there anybody interested in learning how to read and write? And I said I would love to.
We use a multifaceted approach so that you're using all different learning styles to stimulate all the different areas. Okay, now if you want to, you can grab any one of these and actually just pull it towards you and just see if any of those words are actually on your list. Margaret she likes to do and learn, which is basically the visual and kinesthetic. It's like, okay, let me see it, you show me how it's done, you show me, so I'd read it, then we'd break down the letters, which is again a very visual way of doing things. Or if there's something physical we can attribute to a word, then we'll try and physically do it. So you can feel it, touch it, you know, it's like anything. So if we can bring it up on a computer screen or print it out, that makes a big thing. So you literally, if you type it, that makes a connection. As well as that, she loves to memorise things. So we've gradually got her out of that habit, and she's learnt how to break down the words using phonics, and then gradually building, knowing that each larger word is made up of smaller words inside. So we've gradually built the words up, so she knows now how to break them down, which makes the understanding much easier. And her confidence has just grown so much. She'll attempt words now. Have you had this one?
Coffee. I have it on my list.
So if you actually bind this, so what does it say on the back? So like here is it?
Gentle.
So you
Getting more.
it's a bit small, isn't it?
The beans.
Well done.
Earlier, we saw Margaret out shopping with her children. When you're shopping, you'll see signs everywhere showing the names of products. These names are nouns. A noun is the name of a person, place, or thing. We use nouns all the time, and most sentences have at least one noun. There are all sorts of different nouns, but let's look at two basic types. These are common nouns and proper nouns. When you're shopping, you'll see items like washing powder, crisps, toilet paper, and magazines. These words are all common nouns. A common noun is used to refer to general groups of things, which we see every day. Other common nouns include woman, town, and building. Now, you might notice that the brand names Nescafe, Maxwell House, Kleenex, Colgate, and the RTE Guide all begin with capital letters. This is because they're proper nouns. A proper noun is the name of a specific item, and it always begins with a capital letter. Other examples of proper nouns include Margaret, Tralee, and Learning Centre. Keep an eye out for examples of common and proper nouns in your everyday life.